Guys of Reddit, what is something you learned about girls after getting into a relationship? That birth control messes with their hormones a lot. Birth control can literally change a person. It's fucked. My wife was on BC from the age of 16. Never once stopped until her 32nd birthday. I suddenly met a completely different person. Better or worse? Better. Suddenly laughing at childish things more so than she would do. Every moment of the day there was an extra spring in her step. Little things were water off a duck's back as before they were catastrophes. A good hug when nothing is wrong works wonders. Now, do you prefer someone to hug you with their arms over your shoulders or under your arms? Chokehold actually. Communication is the key to everything. Seriously, if there's an unanswered question, mention it and get the answer. Neither men nor women are mind readers. So many things can be avoided by just talking with the other one in the relationship. Always assume ignorance over malice. Chances are whatever happened it's because of assumptions made and not because one was trying to actively hurt/annoy the other. The only dumb question is the one you don't ask. Assume ignorance or incompetence. Sometimes I do dumb stuff because I'm a dumb, not a mean. Sometimes when people ask me, why didn't you do this instead? I'll respond with, oh shit, you right. Makeup is expensive as F. Bras too. I thought just the higher end ones would be expensive, but assume the day-to-day ones costs much less than they do. Pretty much any bra that gets worn out of the house is gonna run you $50 minimum. Can you imagine paying $50 for a pair of boxers? And not just for a pair, but for every pair. Bobby pins are magical items that will materialize out of thin air and disappear just as suddenly. Bobby pins and teaspoons go to a magical void. I don't know what they do there, but I like to think they are happy. I wish, with all my heart, to fly with dragons in a land apart. With my first serious girlfriend after college, I learned that I could have a relationship with open and honest communication, owning our emotional reactions, not being manipulative, and putting ourselves in our partner's shoes. In my next relationship, I learned that not every partner will do that. It really prepared me for meeting my now wife, because I could expect that and communicate that expectation to her early on, which laid the foundation for a healthy and communicative relationship. I'm glad it worked out for you. In my first serious relationship she was great about communication. For a time. In all others I attempted over a decade, miscommunication was a common thread after I was trained to be fine being open in my first. It's to the point that after 10 years of different, but actually the same, in results, I've really kind of given up hope. I'm able to have good open honest communication with a lot of friends, but it always seems to hit a wall with potential partners, and I'm just too tired of trying to carry things along first and foremost, rather than things being equal. I want equal, but it seems a lot of others don't actually. You don't have enough hangers. My french fries are her french fries. Always order an extra small order of fries for when she inevitably wants some. They're floppy like cats. You pick them up and they're like BL000P. This made me laugh too much. That my hoodies are actually her hoodies. Bugs Bunny are hoodies. An issue/argument is not a win-lose situation every time. Take time to compromise and learn from each other instead. You have to look at it like it's a democracy. You both have different opinions, but you're both trying to figure out how to accomplish some goal for the republic. She can snore like a freight train. I had to have a septoplasty and cineplasty at the same time, so I ended up with huge plastic splints up my nose and needing to sleep sitting up. My husband tried so hard to stay next to me, but he swore I sounded like a chainsaw revving beside him. He finally gave up and slept in the living room for the remaining 2 weeks I had the splints. I felt terrible for him. I'm female, but my male partner had no idea that women can't hold in our periods like we hold in pee. I found this out when he was telling me about a girl in 6th grade who got her period in class, and he couldn't believe how she just let it all out all over, as if she peed in her pants, but it was period blood. I had to explain to him how it works, but I guess, how would he have known? I never thought about it. My guy friend thought the same thing. We were talking about how homeless women might deal with periods, and he thought it just stayed in until they peed. It bleeds the same way a cut bleeds. You can't stop a cut from bleeding with your mind/muscle. The same with periods. Don't be fooled by her constantly forgetting where her keys and phone and stuff are. She'll definitely remember what you said word for word October 3rd 2017 at 6:14 p.m. Her hair somehow always ends up in between my butt crack. How? She put it there. Watch out. Nature program narrator. Note how the female of the species marks her territory. Edit. Fix typo and please read in your very best David Attenborough voice. That penetration without clitoral stimulation doesn't do the trick for a lot of women. I think an understanding of human anatomy helps a lot here. During fetal development, the tissues that become the P in men turn into the C in women. The C isn't just the button under the clitoral hood. It actually has an internal part that wraps around the vaginal canal, and it also gets engorged with blood with arousal. Having sex without touching it is kind of like being completely flaccid, and then having someone only stroke the shaft without ever touching the head. You'll probably still get aroused, and it'll still feel good, but it's not satisfying, and you might not be able to finish easily, except for women. Cause something goes inside us. It actually hurts to take a D if I'm not at all aroused first. This part is my personal speculation, but I think this is why there's so much variability in what women like. Men have most of their nerves involved in sexual pleasure right there in the same place on the outside of their body, but women can have nerves distributed differently throughout the entirety of the internal and external parts of the C. So some might be too sensitive to have the external part touched directly, and some can get off through only stimulation of the internal part. I read a very long and interesting article about this that ended with something along the lines of, communication is the most important part of sex, because it's all custom under the hood, apostrophe. The amount of hair they shed is unreal. Not sure how they still have a full body of hair on their head after a week. You've got to brush them. You get through 4 times as much bathroom tissue. Costco is a lifesaver when it comes to this. The statement "just do what you want, no matter the tone," means you fucked up. As a woman reading through these comments, this is by far the most valuable information. Other death threats are fine. Have it your way, and are you sure you want to do this? Today I learned some women are probably missing their calling as DMs. The ones who aren't already. I would like to seduce the bartender. Are you sure you want to do this? Plan CR30 to encounter at home later that night. What might be a really small thing for me to give her, a gesture, compliment, smile, etc., can mean a whole lot to her. This is so underrated. I'm in a new relationship and I know my BF cares for me in his own way, but I would give anything for a few compliments here and there. Tell them that. Not that you want one right now, but that you appreciate hearing his feelings about you here and there. Communication is the only way to a positive path. They shower with lava. At least that's what the water temperature felt like. When I shower with my husband it feels like an ice bath. When I shower with my wife I sous vide. It's so hot her skin gets red from burning. If my skin won't turn red I'll stay dirty instead. You have to teach someone how to be a good lover to you. People don't magically know how to meet your needs, and they certainly can't read your mind. Well, FRKN said. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and people should realize that more. Periods suck. Bras suck. Shaving suck. Women don't get enough pockets on their clothing, and they appreciate compliments a lot on things they may be insecure about, like stretch marks or thighs. Edit. To the incels, ming me with your BS. Could you kindly fuck off? The pockets on my new jeans are literally fake. My trick for this is to just buy men's skinny jeans. The pockets literally go down to my knees.